Hello, welcome to I Read This Book with Chris. With me, Chris. Today, we will be going through the plot of Code of the Woosters by P.G. Wodehouse. P.G. Wodehouse is probably my favorite author. He's written almost 100 books, novels, plus many short stories and plays as well. British writing of a lot of the aristocracy, and then a lot of comparison of British versus American culture. Often as comedies. The Code of the Woosters is in his Jeeves and Woosters series, which is probably his most well-known. It follows the narrator, Bertram Wooster, and his gentleman's gentleman, his manservant, Jeeves. Bertie is an aristocrat, never has held a job, lots of money from his parents, never having to work a day in his life, getting himself in hijinks, usually with the help of his friends. I have written down all of the plot points of all 14 chapters of this book, and we will work our way through them while drinking a gin soda. Originally published in 1938, this copy is 1975. And yes, I do have multiple copies that are actually exactly the same. I collect Wodehouse. I have multiple copies of a bunch of his stuff. So, let's get started. Alrighty. So, book opens up and Sir Bertram Wooster, known as Bertie, and his Jeeves, his gentleman's gentleman, have a disagreement about a cruise. Jeeves wants to go on a worldwide cruise because if Bertie goes on the cruise, Jeeves goes with him. Bertie pays for everything, and he gets to go on a vacation while working. Pretty sweet deal. Bertie doesn't want to go. That's how it opens up. Remember that, because the only other time this cruise is going to come up is at the end of the book. Jeeves wants to go on a cruise, Bertie does not. Enter Jeeves says, hey, your aunt wants to talk to you. Aunt Dahlia. Bertie's like, huh, okay. She wants to talk to me. Alrighty, I'll go over and I'll visit her. Aunt Dahlia and Uncle Tom have a French cook, Anatole, who apparently is the bee's knees. He makes very good stuff. Everyone always wants him, loves his food, love being invited over. Bertie heads over there, says, hey, Aunt Dahlia, you wanted to see me? And she's like, yeah, you didn't need to come over here. He's like, that's fine. I'll just, stop in for lunch, see what you want to say. She's like, you're not getting lunch. What I need you to do is to go sneer at a cow creamer. No, all I wanted was to tell you to go to an antique shop in Brompton Road. It's just past the oratory. You can't miss it. And sneer at a cow creamer. I did not get her drift. The impression I received was that of an aunt talking through the back of her neck. Do what to a what? They've got an 18th century cow creamer there that Tom's gonna buy this afternoon. The scale fell from my eyes. Oh, so it's a silver whatnot, is it? Yes, a sort of cream jug. Go there and ask them to show it to you, and when they do, register scorn. The idea being what? To sap their confidence, of course, chump. To sow doubts and misgivings in their mind and make them clip the price a bit. The cheaper he gets the thing, the better he will be pleased, and I want him to be in a cheery mood, because if I succeed in signing the grindle up for the cereal, I shall be compelled to get into his ribs for a biggish sum of money. It's sinful what these best-selling woman novelists want for their stuff. So pop off there without delay and shake your head at the thing. So there's this cow creamer here. Uncle Tom wants it. He collects old antique silver. It's a creamer, like, for a coffee set, and it's silver, and it's shaped like a cow. Aunt Dahlia needs Uncle Tom to be in a good mood, because if Uncle Tom's in a good mood, then when she runs a magazine, she doesn't make any money off the magazine, so whenever a big expense comes up, she needs to go and get money from him. So it's Bertie's job to go sneer. Alrighty, so Bertie shows up to the antique shop, looks at the cow creamer, and is gonna go sneer at it. When he gets to the shop, he sees Sir Watkin Bassett and Roderick Spode. Sir Watkin Bassett is a judge. He sits at court, and he, does judge stuff. And Sir Roderick Spode is a fascist. So this was published in 1938. So fascism was all the rage. And so this guy is a fascist wannabe. Something that'll come up later is all of the good uniforms are taken. And to be a fascist, you need everyone, to have a good snappy uniform. So part of the one thing in their uniform that makes Roger Spode and all his followers, the same is it's shorts. They all wear shorts, which I'm pretty sure was more insulting and funny back in the day than it is now, where a lot of people wear shorts. But you gotta remember, this is back in the day when the only time you'd wear shorts is for swimming. And besides that, if you were a man, especially in the aristocracy, you would never wear shorts. You always wear trousers. Bertie goes to the antique shop to get the cow creamer, and he runs into Roger Spode and Sir Walkin' Basket. Sir Walkin' Basket recognized Bertie from a time where Bertie showed up in his court, and seems to think that Bertie was a bag thief, a purse snatcher, and seems to say, hey, good that you showed up once, you learned your lesson. Bertie goes and tries to say, no, I didn't steal any purses. He's like, oh no, that's definitely what you did. And they both seem to think he's a ne'er-do-well. Really, Bertie showed up there because on boat race night, he went and he stole a helmet off a policeman. And doing so, he wound up in front of the judge and had to pay a £5 fine. And they're like, well, it's good to see you reformed. Roderick sees Bertie accidentally grabbing the judge's umbrella, and they're like, all right, we'll let you off this one time, because I'm in such a good mood today, we're not going to call the cops, but don't you go around stealing stuff. Leave the judge and Roderick. Bertie goes up to the, counterman, tells him, hey, look, let me see that here cow creamer. And then he, does his job to sneer at it. He says it's modern Dutch, which apparently is the one thing that a cow creamer is not supposed to be. The guy's like, what are you talking about? It's not modern Dutch. And he's like, you can even see it good. Go out in the light. So he goes outside in the light to get a better look at the cow creamer. Accidentally steps on a cat, trips on his way out of the store. So Sir Walkin' Basket and Roger Spode are out there. They see him, what appears to be running out with the said cow creamer that they were looking at. They call the cops, get him arrested. End of chapter 1. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 starts off with Bertie going and talking to Jeeves, explaining how they called the cops on him, he got arrested, but the shop merchant explained the situation. He was able to get off scot-free because he wasn't actually trying to steal something. And Bertie's, a little peeved by the whole situation. Bertie gets a telegram from Gussie Finknoddle, his friend, who tells them that he and Madeline Bassett being the daughter of Sir Walkin' Basket, are on the rocks. There you go. They are engaged to be married. Things aren't going super well. They are currently, both Gussie and Madeline, who are to be married in 3 weeks, it's on the rocks. So Gussie wants Bertie and Jeeves, mainly Jeeves, because Jeeves is the guy with all the brains here, to come and to help him out because he's stuck. Meanwhile, Bertie learns from his Aunt Dahlia that Sir Walkin' Basket is playing a little underhanded. Both he and Uncle Tom both want said cow creamer. Sir Walkin' Basket knows that the cow creamer being held at the shop is reserved for Uncle Tom, but if Uncle Tom misses his reservation, his appointment, well, hey, then it'll just be up for sale and he'll be able to buy it. So, Sir Walkin' Basket invites Uncle Tom to the club where he gets Uncle Tom to eat lobster, knowing Uncle Tom is allergic to lobster, so he eats the lobster, gets sick. So Sir Walkin' Basket is able to buy... So Sir Walkin' Basket... Perfect. Is able to buy the cow creamer. It should be Uncle Tom's, because Uncle Tom got there, made the reservation for it, but Sir Walkin' Basket bought it out from underneath him. Aunt Dahlia wants Bertie to go and steal the cow creamer from the judge. Bertie doesn't want to go and do that either. However, since he's getting called to go there, both by Gussie and by his aunt, he goes and sends a telegram to Madeline, who says, oh yeah, you want to come over? Don't worry. And she invites Bertie over. Bertie only agrees to go over because his Aunt Dahlia is threatening to not allow him to ever have Anatole's cooking again. So it'll be a 2-for-1 deal. He'll be able to go there, steal the cow creamer, fix the broken relationship. All will be well. Bertie and Jeeves pack up, head over to Totley Towers, which is where they live. And as he arrives, Jeeves drops him off and then goes to drive around to park the car. Bertie ends up walking through a set of French doors that apparently ends up being in Sir Watkin Basket's collection room, where he, stores all his collections. He sees sitting on the center table, the cow creamer. He goes, picks it up, caught. Roderick Spode walks in, sees Bertie Wooster, a guy who he thinks is a thief because his friend told him he was a thief, that he didn't know anything about, just on the premises with the stolen cow creamer. End chapter 2. Chapter 3. So here's Bertie in a rough situation. Roderick Spode just caught him with the cow creamer in his hands. Roderick Spode calls the judge, Sir Watkin Basket, tell him, we caught the thief. He followed us. He got the cow creamer. Bertie going, trying to explain the situation, trying to say, I never did steal it. Madeline Bassett, the judge's daughter, Bertie's friend, shows up saying, he didn't steal it. He's here. I invited him. That's why he's here. He's not just following you guys. They go try to explain the whole situation, just saying, he came in to explain the whole situation. He gets off yet again, but suspicion lingers between these two for Bertie. Roderick tells Bertie, hey, if I ever see you anywhere near that cow creamer, I'm going to break your neck. So Bertie sends a telegram to his aunt. I paused for a moment, assembling the ideas, then proceeded thus. Deeply regret, quite impossible, carry out assignment, you know what. Atmosphere, one of keenest suspicion, and any sort of action instantly fatal. You ought to have seen old Bassett's eye just now on learning of blood relationship of self and Uncle Tom. Like ambassador finding veiled woman snooping round safe containing secret treaty. Sorry and all that, but nothing doing. Love, Bertie. So Bertie tells his aunt, I can't do it. They're watching me. After he sends off the telegram, Madeline comes and talks to him, saying, hey, I don't know if you should be here, Bertie. I don't know if it makes sense. Previously, Madeline and Bertie were engaged. Bertie does not want to get married. Definitely does not want to get married to Madeline. And he was glad to get out of the engagement before. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's all good. I just want you to be happy. Glad that you're, found Gussie. She says this engagement that he thought was off is actually fixed. Everything's good between them. Bertie's happy to hear it. Bertie goes to talk to Gussie, trying to say, what's going on here? You just sent me a telegram yesterday telling me everything's off. What's going on? Gussie says, well, it was just, it was just a short moment of coolness. And explains that when preparing for the marriage, Gussie was supposed to go and give a speech. And Gussie, being a sensitive plant, is afraid of public speaking. Doesn't want to go up in front of everyone and give a speech. And he told Madeline that, and she said, if you're too afraid to do that, you're just a coward, I'm not going to marry you. At which point, he gets some instruction from Jeeves, telling him, guess what? If you go and feel a lofty contempt for the people who you're giving a speech in front of, if you go and you feel, like you're better than them, you're not going to be worried about giving a speech. You're not going to be afraid of any of them. So Gussie takes this to heart, goes and gets his little pocket notebook, and writes down all sorts of things about the people he's afraid of. Mostly Sir Roderick Spode and Sir Watkin Basket. Writes up a notebook. He feels better about himself because he's written this stuff down and now has a lofty contempt for these people. And Bertie's like, oh, that's interesting. And Gussie's like, yeah, here, I wrote in my notebook. He goes to pick up his notebook, realizes his notebook is missing. Chapter 4. Bertie realizes what a situation this is, because the notebook, going and having not good for it to be lost. So he talks to Gussie, trying to figure out where exactly he could have lost it. Gussie explains that the reason he and Madeline were broken off was because another person, Stephanie Bing, known as Stiffy, had gotten a bug in her eye. So he had gone and helped her to remove the bug from her eye. Madeline saw, got upset. Gussie explained the situation. Situation's better again. But while he was helping out Stiffy, the notebook probably fell out of his pocket. Stiffy probably has it. Birdie goes to talk to Stiffy, tries to figure out about this notebook. They decide Stiffy probably has the notebook. Cuts to Stiffy. Stiffy Bing is married to Harold Pinker. Or is not married, is engaged to Harold Pinker. It's a secret right now because Stiffy is Sir Walkin Basket's niece. So she's cousins with Madeline. And Sir Walkin Basket is currently responsible for the guardian of Stiffy. He has money, and Harold Pinker, he's a curate, so he is a reverend, a pastor, not very high up. If they are engaged, Sir Walkin Basket is not going to be happy about this. So they are secretly engaged, these two. The Constable Oates is a policeman, and he and Stiffy have gotten in an argument quite often because Stiffy has a dog who she doesn't want to put on a leash, and the dog will go and do things. For example, attack the constable while he's on his bike. Knock him off, knock him into the mud. He's written tickets for Stiffy for keeping the dog off the leash, and so she wants Harold Pinker to steal the constable's helmet. So Stiffy wants Harold Pinker to steal the helmet off the policeman. She also wants, because she knows how much Sir Walkin Basket likes his cow creamer, she also wants, in order for Harold to get on a good side with the judge, her uncle, wants Harold to appear to be a vigilante, to come and to save the cow creamer. Her plan that she is using, her plan is that Birdie will go attempt to steal the cow creamer. Harold will be walking by, catch Birdie stealing it, give him a black eye, return the cow creamer, be a hero. Now that he's a hero, he will be able to marry Stiffy. Birdie comes to Stiffy, telling her, hey, we need that notebook. She says, yeah, I got that notebook. I will give you the notebook only after you go and you help me with this plan to steal the cow creamer in order to make Harold the hero. Birdie says, I don't know about this. This sounds like a bad idea. After which point, Roderick Spode comes to Birdie and tells him, I'm watching you. Birdie definitely does not want to be caught now. He's already told his aunt that he's not going to steal the creamer. Now he's telling Stephanie he's not going to steal the creamer. However, he needs the notebook in order to make sure that Gussie and Madeline don't get married, or get married, because if Madeline and Gussie don't get married, then Madeline is going to try to marry Birdie, and Birdie does not want to marry her. He then gets a message that his Aunt Dahlia has arrived to the castle. Chapter 5. Chapter 5 opens up with Birdie and Jeeves discussing the problem. Stiffy has the notebook that Gussie needs because Gussie doesn't have it. Stiffy is threatening to give the notebook to Sir Walkin Basket. And if Sir Walkin Basket has the notebook, he's going to make sure that Madeline and Gussie can't get married, which will be bad for Gussie and will be bad for Birdie because Madeline will say, hey Birdie, we're going to end up... And it will be bad for Birdie because Madeline will then go and say, hey Birdie, I'll marry you, which is not something he wants, but he doesn't know how to tell her that. Stiffy, who has the notebook, wants Birdie to come and help a scheme with Harold to go and steal the cow creamer so that Harold ends up looking like the hero. And if Harold's the hero, then she and Harold will be able to be married. And Aunt Dahlia has just arrived on the scene. Birdie comes to Gussie and tells him, hey, Stiffy definitely has your notebook, but will only give the notebook back if and only if I go and help her steal the cow creamer, which I'm not willing to do. Gussie and Birdie, trying to figure out what to do, decide, hey, we know she has it. We're going to go and try to steal it back from her. After they make the plan that they have to go and steal the notebook, Aunt Dahlia arrives at Totley Towers bearing news. News is Uncle Tom wants the cow creamer for his collection so much, he is willing to make a trade of Anatole, his chef, for the cow creamer. Straight trade. This is not good because both Aunt Dahlia and Bertie Wooster are on the same page here. Anatole, the chef, cannot be traded for the cow creamer at all. That means they need to get the cow creamer from Sir Walking Basket. They're on the same page now. Not only so that they don't trade Anatole for it, but so Aunt Dahlia will be able to get the money from Uncle Tom in order to keep her magazine running. Bertie then goes and explains the whole situation to her. How he can't go and steal it because he's getting watched carefully. The whole situation of Stiffy wanting to steal the cow creamer as well. The whole notebook, all of that. Aunt Dahlia suggests the main thing standing between us and the cow creamer is Roderick Spode. He's not a sir. Is Roderick Spode. What if we can get some dirt on him? What if we can find out some information he doesn't want everyone to know? And then we can go and blackmail him. They can't think of anything, but Jeeves says, you know what? I will go and see if I can find anything out. He is part of the club, the Junior Ganymedes, which is a club for gentlemen's gentlemen and the like, for servants of the aristocracy. At which point, we learn from Madeline that their engagement, Gussie's and Madeline's engagement, is once again off. Chapter 6. It's dinner. At the dinner, Madeline and Gussie are cold to each other. Mainly, Madeline is cold to Gussie, but Gussie is not great either. Roderick is now also upset with Gussie, and he tells Bertie, not only am I watching you, I'm also watching Gussie for going and hurting Madeline. And because you're hurting Madeline, I will go and break Gussie's neck. Apparently, Roderick has been looking for Gussie, cannot find him. Roderick leaves, and Bertie finds Gussie hiding underneath Bertie's bed. Gussie grabs the sheets off of Bertie's bed, starts tying them into knots in order to make a rope, and explains the engagement is off because Gussie, while trying to get that notebook from Stiffy, was in the parlor where Stiffy was playing the piano and basically started feeling up Stiffy's legs, looking for the notebook, thinking she had it on his person. Bertie realizes the notebook is not only important so that it doesn't get to Sir Walking Basket, but it's also important so that Gussie can use it to explain to Madeline what was going on here. And he wasn't feeling up Stiffy because he liked Stiffy, but was grabbing her legs looking for the notebook. So they have to find the notebook. Gussie, it's not sure about that, continues to tie knots in the sheets and plans on running away. Chapter 7. Chapter 7 starts off with Jeeves receiving a telephone call. He has learned that from calling up his associates, he has some information from his club. He's not allowed to share much of it, but what he is able to say is, hey Bertie, if we go and tell Roderick we know about you, Lily, then Roderick Spode will be able to blackmail Roderick Spode because he won't want this information coming out. Bertie Wooster, now knowing this information, goes and tries to find Gussie. He finds him once again in his bedroom trying to escape. Roderick Spode enters and goes and threatens to beat up Gussie because Gussie hurt Madeline. Bertie, knowing the word, comes and tries to stop it, only to remember he forgot what this magic word is that's supposed to go and allow him to control Roderick Spode. Gussie and Bertie then attack Roderick Spode, taking a painting and smashing it over his head. Then Gussie manages to escape, but Bertie ends up running into Aunt Dahlia, who's came looking for Bertie. Roderick manages to free himself from the painting, comes after Bertie, at which point he remembers the magic word "eulily." It works. just like he thought it would. Roderick, goes and says, "Oh, I didn't know." Acts like his best friend, apologizes for everything, and leaves. Bertie then explains the situation to Aunt Dahlia, that he has blackmail on Roderick, except he doesn't know what this blackmail is. He only knows the word "Lily." Let's see. Good old blackmail. You can't beat it. I always said so and I always shall. It works like magic in an emergency. Bertie, she cried, do you realize what this means? Means, old relative? Now that you have got the goods on Spode, the only obstacle to your sneaking that cow creamer has been removed. You can stroll down and collect it tonight. I shook my head regretfully. I'd been afraid she was going to take that view of the matter. It compelled me to dash a cup of joy from her lips. Always an unpleasant thing to have to do to an aunt who dandled one on her knee as a child. No, I said. There you're wrong. There, if you'll excuse my saying so, you're talking like a fathead. Spode may have ceased to be a danger to traffic, but it doesn't alter the fact that Stiffy still has the notebook. Before taking any steps in the direction of the cow creamer, I have got to get it. But why? Oh, I suppose you haven't heard. Madeline Bassett has broken off her engagement with Spinknoddle. She told me in the strictest confidence just now. Well then, the snag was before that young Stiffy might cause the engagement to be broken off by showing old Bassett the book. But if it's broken already, I shook the bean. My dear old faulty reasoner, I said, you missed the gist by a mile. As long as Stiffy retains the book, it cannot be shown to Madeline Bassett. Only by showing it to Madeline Bassett can Gussie prove to her that his motive in pinching Stiffy's legs was not what she supposed. And only by proving her that his motive was not what she supposed can he square himself, and only if he squares himself and effects a reconciliation can I avoid the distasteful necessity of having to marry this bally Bassett myself. No, I repeat, before doing anything else, I have got to get that book. That's the situation. Bertie needs to get the notebook. Bertie ends up talking to Jeeves into, hey, need to go and search Stiffy's room for the notebook. Bertie and Jeeves walk into Stiffy's bedroom to search it, but as soon as the light comes on, the dog that was harassing the constable starts barking at them, starts to attack them. So they both climb up on furniture in order to escape. I think this is a perfect time for a little intermission. Grab your drinks. Top off. You thought this wasn't chaotic yet. This is just the beginning. This is just setting everything up. To continue on. Chapter 8. Man and servant up on a chest of drawers and a cupboard, hiding from a dog that's on the ground barking at them. They go talk to each other, try to figure out if there's any solution. Jeeves says, yeah, I don't really have much of anything. Bertie suggests we could, put a sheet or a rain jacket or painting over the dog. Jeeves says, I don't have any of that, sir. He's like, yeah, but it's just on the bed. Jeeves says, yeah, that would work, but I'm not doing that. Enter Stiffy. She comes, doesn't seem very surprised to see them there, and explains to Bertie that she has broken off her engagement with Harold the Pinker Stinker. So now both engagements are off. Bertie tries to figure out, why'd you break up the engagement? Because Harold would not steal the constable's helmet. Enter Harold. He comes in through the French door saying, guess what? I've got your helmet. Engagement, shortly there broken. It's back on. Stiffy has convinced her engaged to go into... he's a reverend, a man of the cloth, to go in to steal a helmet from the police officer, Constable Oates. Everything is back as it should be. Harold and Stiffy are still under the opinion that the best way to make Sir Watkin Basket okay with the marriage is for Bertie to attempt to steal the cow creamer Harold to stop him. Therefore, Harold will be a hero. They agree on that plan. Harold walks out, leaving the helmet with Stiffy. Jeeves recognizes that Stiffy does not want Harold to know that Birdie is only doing it by blackmail. Because of that, Jeeves tells Birdie this. Birdie's like, hey, I'm not doing it, and if you don't give me that notebook, I'm going to go and tell Harold that you're trying to blackmail me. Harold, while being okay with doing a silly prank like stealing a policeman's helmet, is probably not going to be okay with using the notebook as blackmail. So Birdie calls off the whole situation, and Jeeves comes up with a better scenario. Hey, you want your uncle to be okay with the marriage. Do you know what we should do? Here's the plan. Birdie tells Sir Watton-Basket, hey, I want your niece's hand in marriage. Sir Watton-Basket hates Birdie so much and will be so upset that when Stiffy enters and tells him, hey, no, I don't want to marry Birdie. I want to marry the curate. I want to marry Harold. Basically, any other option is going to be better, so he will agree. Chapter 9. Stiffy says, Birdie, I'll give you the notebook back after you go and carry it out. So Birdie goes to the judge to tell him and finds Constable Oates there with the judge. The constable goes and says to the judge, hey, someone stole my helmet. The constable leaves. Birdie, talking to Sir Watton-Basket, learns that judge is not in a good mood. Anyone who steals the helmet, I'm not going to just give a fine. I'm going to go and send them to jail for 30 days. I'm not in as good mood as I was before. Not great news for Birdie. Birdie then goes and follows through with the plan. He tells Sir Watton-Basket, hey, I would love Stiffy's hand in marriage. Sir Watton-Basket is quite upset, does not like the idea at all. Stiffy then enters and says, what? No, I don't want to marry Birdie. I want to marry Harold. Sir Watton-Basket's like, what? No, you can't marry him. He doesn't have any money. And he's like, well, if you don't want me to marry Harold, I guess I'll marry Birdie. Birdie has plenty of money. Birdie, I can't love you the way, maybe I should. I'm only going to do it to make you happy. But, if I need to marry for money, I'll marry for money. And I know you love me. Sir Watton-Basket's like, you know what? You want to marry the curate? Go marry the curate. That's all good. Just don't marry Birdie. She's like, okay, if you say so. So now, this engagement is not only not secret anymore. Now, it's been accepted by Sir Watton-Basket, who has the say-so and could call it off. They then head back to Birdie's room and discuss what happened and how the plan went off. Jeeves enters and says he had been talking to the constable, and the constable is now after Stiffy because, one, motive. He thought she had the only motive, and at the scene of the crime, his helmet was stolen. However, one of her gloves was found. Apparently, Harold, when stealing the helmet, had dropped one of Stiffy's gloves at the scene of the crime. Not a very smooth action. Birdie's like, alrighty, I did my part. Where is the notebook? Stiffy says, oh, you know where the notebook is? I hid the notebook in the cow creamer. Chapter 10. Madeline Basket comes to Birdie saying, hey, you know what, Birdie? Since my engagement with Gussie is off, I will marry you. Birdie then goes and explains the situation of the notebook and why Gussie was acting the way he did and why he went and felt up Stiffy looking for the notebook. And now he explained the whole situation with the notebook, and now that Stiffy hid the notebook in the cow creamer. Madeline believes him and goes to look for the notebook. However, she goes to the cow creamer, looks for the notebook, and does not find it. She disbelieves Birdie, thinks that Birdie is lying for Gussie because they are such good friends. Because the story that he said there'd be a notebook, there is no notebook. Birdie, upset about this situation, goes to Gussie to try to figure out and finds Sir Roderick Spode banging on Gussie's door. Sir Roderick Spode found the notebook. He said he knew people were after the cow creamer, and because people were after the cow creamer, he went to go to protect them, and while doing so, he heard something inside it. He opened it up, he found the notebook. He started to read the notebook, read the notebook, realized that it was Gussie writing notes about Roderick and was not happy. Bertie, because he knows about you, Lily, goes and tells Roderick, hey, let me see that notebook. Takes the notebook, put it in his pocket, tells Roderick to run away. Roderick's like, but I want to kill Gussie. You're not going to kill him. But what if I just wring his neck? No, you're not going to wring his neck. What if I push his spine up through the top of his head? No, you're not going to do that. What? I can't do anything. You can't do anything to Gussie. Get lost. Roderick leaves. Notebook. Now with Bertie. Bertie comes, knocks on the door. He takes the notebook. He gives it to Gussie, saying, hey, I got the notebook. Take this notebook, show it to Madeline. Things will be better. Things are now better between them now that they can go and do it. Bertie then goes, explains the situation to Jeeves, tells him everything's better, only for Gussie to come in again and say the wedding is now off, yet again. Chapter 11. Why is the wedding that Gussie just fixed, why is it off? Apparently, so Gussie is a big fan of newts. He has a collection of newts, but the container that he held the newts in broke. So Gussie took the newts, put them into the bathtub so that they'd have a place to stay. Sir Watson Basket wanted to go take a bath, goes into the bathroom, finds the newts are there, doesn't like the fact they're there, washes them down the drain. Gussie goes, when Sir Watson Basket freaks out that there are newts in the bathtub, starts yelling at him. So Gussie starts yelling at Sir Watson Basket for washing the newts down the drain, and Gussie then calls the cow creamer modern Dutch, which apparently is a big insult. Sir Watson Basket says, alrighty, is this what you're saying? This is the way you're treating me? Your wedding is off. Not only is it off, but the fact that everyone is guarding the cow creamer now means that the constable is now walking around, and Sir Watson Basket has the constable watch the cow creamer for the night. So these bright dudes, Bertie, Jeeves, and Gussie, come up with the plan that Gussie needs to steal the cow creamer. Because if Gussie has the cow creamer, he can use it to trade for Sir Watson Basket for the marriage, so he won't call the marriage off. However, the cow creamer is being guarded currently by the constable. In order to get the constable to stop guarding the cow creamer, Gussie will tell the constable that he saw Bertie with the helmet. So then the constable will then leave the cow creamer unguarded to go get his helmet, so that Gussie can go steal the cow creamer, trade the cow creamer to Watson Basket for the marriage. At this point, we learn that Gussie, while he was explaining things to Sir Watson Basket, was so upset and was calling him so many names, he took out his notebook and he gave it to Sir Watson Basket, saying, hey, I may have forgotten other things to insult you by. Here's the full list. Read this list, and you will know what a lousy creature you are. Bertie then tells Gussie, this was a mistake. You should not have given Sir Watson Basket the notebook. So not only do we need to go and steal the cow creamer, but now we also need to go and take the notebook from Sir Watson Basket. He's going to go take a bath. Hopefully he left it in his robe. So when he'll leave his robe to go hop in the bath. You can hop in there and go steal it. Roderick comes after Gussie. Bertie stops him from attacking him. At which point, Roderick leaves, and Jeeves comes in and tells Bertie the constable was attacked. Jeeves was walking through, finds the constable with a bloody nose. At which point, Aunt Dahlia has stolen the cow creamer, and Harold Pinker, still going off the plan that Harold and Bertie would come and steal the creamer from Sir Watson Basket, and Harold would go and stop Bertie. Harold thinks the constable is Bertie stealing that, so Harold goes and punches the constable in the nose. Chapter 12. Now the cow creamer, he's in the room with Aunt Dahlia and Bertie. Gussie enters and explains he was going to steal the notebook back from Sir Watson Basket. When he entered the room to steal it, he didn't find his bathrobe there with the notebook inside it, but he found Sir Watton Basket reading the notebook. Sir Watton Basket then chases Gussie. Gussie then runs away. Sir Watton Basket stops to grab his riding whip, the whip that he uses when he's riding horses, to go chase Gussie. So Gussie manages to escape and gets to Bertie. Bertie already has, from Gussie's previous thought about escaping, already has the sheets tied up. Aunt Dahlia and Bertie had taken the cow creamer and put it into the suitcase. So they decide to agree to give Gussie Bertie's car and escape to London. And while doing so, without Gussie's knowing, they give the cow creamer to Gussie, so Gussie can then go and escape with the cow creamer, get out of London, because he's getting chased by not only Sir Watton Basket, but also Roderick Spode still wants to kill Gussie. Now the cow creamer's out of the situation. Aunt Dahlia feels better. Dahlia leaves. Jeeves then goes. Bertie and Jeeves are planning on leaving. Now that they think they've done everything they can and the situation is beyond saving besides that, Jeeves opens the other suitcase and finds in it the policeman's helmet. Chapter 13. So Jeeves has found the helmet. Bertie and Jeeves realize they don't have a good hiding space for it. They lock the door. Stiffy knocks on the door. They let her in. She explains that she hid the helmet there because, well, her uncle would feel okay with searching her room. Of course he wasn't going to go and search Bertie's room. Bertie is a guest. She says that. She gets out of there. Bertie and Jeeves still trying to figure out where can they hide the helmet. Can't think of anything. Jeeves says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop it out the window. That's probably a good spot to hide it. Bertie goes, takes the helmet, drops it out the window. Just as they hear a knock on the door, in comes the constable, Sir Watton Basket. In enters Aunt Dahlia, the constable, and the judge, Sir Watkins Bassett. Bertie says, hey, what are you doing in here? Oh, you're here to search the room? Fine, search the room. I couldn't have stolen the cow creamer. I wasn't here the whole time. In fact, Roderick Spode was here at the time that was stolen. He'll be my alibi. They're like, okay, well, you probably stole the helmet. Okay, you want to search for the helmet? Go look for it. As they are searching, Jeeves goes away to go find Roderick Spode for the alibi. They can't find the helmet. They start to apologize, at which point the butler brings the helmet in on a silver platter. Chapter 14. The butler comes in, explains, hey, I saw Bertie drop this helmet outside the window. The judge, Sir Watton Basset, says, hey, I told you before when you came in and we discussed the helmet, whoever we had caught stealing the helmet, I'm going to send to jail. So they say, we'll send you to jail right now. They decide, after a little pleading, okay, you can stay here for the rest of the night, but in the morning, we'll go and send you off. They lock Bertie in his room, and they have Constable Oates outside the window, patrolling, so Bertie can't escape that way. Jeeves comes to the door and is locked out. He explains that Harold and Stiffy's wedding is called off because Harold, feeling bad after realizing he hit the constable, admitted that he had hit the constable, and Sir Watkin Basket's called the wedding off. Boom. Aunt Dahlia enters, unlocking the door, explaining, you know what? When they said they were gonna lock you away, I said I'll let you go. Sir Watton Basket says, I'll let him go in exchange for Anatole. Bertie says, no way that's happening. Let me go, rot in jail for 30 days. After I get out, you'll make me a feast. I'd rather go and do 30 days than lose Anatole as a chef. Roderick Spode, or Sir Watton Basket, comes in. Bertie explains, we're refusing this trade. At which point he says, well, that means you're going to have to do 30 days. At which point, Sir Roderick Spode comes in and confesses to stealing a helmet. He said, I did it back in my Oxford days. I went and I stole the helmet. I went and I did it again. And he leaves. Sir Watton Basket apologizes. Aunt Dahlia leaves. Bertie a free man. Jeeves then tells Bertie, this man, Sir Watton Basket, just went and accused you of all sorts of things and libeled you in front of witnesses. That means you could sue him, and you could sue him probably for a good amount of money. So Bertie calls Sir Watton Basket back and says, I've been informed that I can sue you because you what you've done here, the fact that you've locked me in my room, the fact that you've called me a thief, and all these other things, even though you've already admitted I couldn't have stolen either of those two things, because Roderick Spode admitted to stealing the helmet, and also he was my alibi for when the cow creamer. And he says, you know, I'm not going to sue you if you do two things. You allow Gussie and Madeline to get married. You allow Stiffy and Harold to get married. You realize that whoever stole the cow creamer has gotten away with it and knows that Uncle Tom is probably, you know, they know that Uncle Tom wants it. So they might go and sell it to Uncle Tom, and you're going to be okay with that fact too. Plus the £5 that you fined me for when I stole a helmet a few months back, you're going to go and pay me that back. Sir Basket goes, accepts the terms so that he won't get sued. At which point, Bertie and Jeeves go and talk about the whole situation. Bertie's like, you know, there's one thing I want to know. I want to know what exactly is Eulily. Who is Eulily? Jeeves says, I can't tell you. Bertie says, if you tell me, I'll go on that cruise with you. Jeeves says, Eulily is a lingerie shop. Apparently, Sir Roderick Spode, being a fascist, leading a group known as the Black Shorts, because the only clothes that are left that are, you know, noticeable are black shorts. Also, on his spare time, runs a lingerie shop. And if you are a fascist, you better not be known for lingerie. So, it all ends up being okay, because in the end, they go on a cruise. Uncle Tom and Aunt Dahlia keep Anatole, keep the cow creamer. Both marriages are back on. Everything's okay. This is the plot of the Code of the Woosters. Not only is the plot crazy and hectic, but the prose in here, very, very good as well. It's hard picking out what are the good parts and what are the bad parts. I mean, it's all good parts. That's the story. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.